What's going on YouTube? So the Audi Q7 was just refreshed with the latest design and technology. However, probably the most exciting part of the lineup has just now arrived, and that is this high-performance Audi SQ7. This is the first time it's been offered in the US, and it comes packed with 500 horsepower. But without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and see just how much performance this potent three-row has. Now when you first walk up to the SQ7, the first thing you're gonna notice is the aggressive design. Now it's not hugely different from the standard Q7 in terms of like your grille. It is pretty much the same octagon shape with the bars that run through it. However, on this specific example, we have the black optic package. So that blacks out, of course, the bars, this surround around it, as well as all this stuff down here on your lower fascia. One of the other SQ7 things you'll notice is this really large functional vent over here. Like I said, this entire thing is functional because it needs to feed all that air back to those brakes. Now up above that, we have the premium matrix LED headlights. Those are standard equipment. You can get optional laser lights if you want that instead. And of course you have that cool dynamic turn signal. Now as far as your different wheel options, Audi gives you two large options. So you have a standard 21-inch alloy, and then if you go for the black optic package, you get this 21-inch 10-spoke alloy, of course paired with performance tires. As far as the brakes, they are also definitely upsized from the regular Q7, so they are 15.8-inch vented disc brakes. We have the black calipers on this example, but you can also get red ones. Now up above that, with our black optic package, we have the black mirror caps, and of course these are fully loaded with all the features, including heating, power folding, auto dimming, and blind spot monitoring.
Now I like the SQ7's front design, but here at the rear is where I think it really turns up the decibel meter, because this just looks really good, especially in the rear with the few special touches that the SQ7 gets over the regular one. Now breaking down what you're gonna get, even with the black optic package, you are going to keep the silver piece running through the tail lights, and of course these are going to be your standard Audi full LED tail lights with that dynamic turn signal. And then if you drop down, this is where you're going to see the big differences for the SQ7 is in this rear diffuser. First of all, if you get the black optic, it's going to have a black finish down here, but then the bigger change, that's going to be your quad exhaust outlets. And I have to say, hearing this on the outside, it sounds absolutely phenomenal. Now, even though this is a very expensive SUV, you're not going to get all of your safety systems standard. However, Audi does throw in forward emergency braking and auto high beam standard across the lineup. Now, the rest of them are in the driver's assistance package, and that's going to add stuff like lane keeping assist and adaptive cruise control with traffic jam assistant. It's also worth noting that that is standard on the fully loaded Prestige model. But anyway, there are quite a few changes on the outside for this SQ7 over the regular version. But now let's go ahead and check on the inside, see all the luxury they've thrown in there before we do the part I know you're waiting on, the test drive.
So walking up to the SQ7, of course you are going to find a smart entry system as well as the newest Audi key fob. And then to get inside the door itself, all you have to do is just grab behind the handle since there is a sensor. And taking a first look inside of this cabin, you will notice that most of it is the same as the refreshed Q7's interior, but there are a lot of special touches, which we'll talk about, of course, as we go through the interior. So right off the bat, our seats and interior material and color options are going to be different for the SQ7. So what you'll have is a standard Valcona premium leather, and that comes in black, rotor gray, or a special red option. And of course you have the one-piece sport seats, which look absolutely lovely. Now turning over here to your door trim, it is finished exquisitely. We have real leather that runs all through here with a color contrast stitching detail. We have Alcantara through the middle. We have leather across the upper part of the door trim since we have the luxury package. And then we have some gray oak wood. You will of course find two-person memory seating as standard equipment, and all four of the windows will be one-touch automatic. As far as the seats, you have a standard 8-way power adjusting seat, but since we have the luxury package, this seat is actually 18-way power adjusting with massaging abilities. And then like I was already mentioning, this seat is absolutely lovely. Just a beautiful quilted design with the color contrast stitching. It's all one piece, and we have really nice bolsters to keep us in place. Also on the prestige level, you do have the soft close doors. Now that luxury package I already mentioned does further elevate this cabin, which already of course was very nice. So across your upper dash you have a full leather dashboard with a color contrast stitching detail. Down below that we have a small layer of aluminum, as well as this large piece of piano black trim. We also have this high gloss oak wood. You can get a carbon fiber optionally if you prefer that. And then below that we have more aluminum, piano black, wood, and leather down here along the console to rest your knee against. Now to start up the SQ7, we have standard push button start with a red accent around it. It's got a really nice and mean growl at startup. After you get through admiring that engine note, you'll be greeted with the 12.3-inch Audi virtual cockpit. So this uses the newest sport design, and it is version 2.0 with a little bit more processing power. So you see you have your large kind of race-inspired tachometer right there in the middle, and your map on the side, and your other information over there. Of course, in typical Audi fashion though, you can minimize those things off to the side, and then you have your large display, which can be Google Earth Maps when we have that enabled. In addition to that, if you choose the prestige level, that will also throw in the head-up display. Now heading back to the steering wheel itself, of course we have electric power assisted steering, and we have a really nice sport design steering wheel with the perforated leather on the sides and the S branding. The wheel itself is going to be power tilt and telescoping, and then it will also be heated. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about interior storage, because this is a 3-row crossover after all. So we'll start out underneath our center console here. Now, just like in the regular Q7, with this center console redesign here, it did actually reduce your storage. So you'll notice that we have a pretty limited amount of space. However, this is a wireless phone charging pad, and you also have 2 USB ports inside. Now, as far as our coupons, we can fit them in there, just not super well, so we can kind of fold them in half, wedge them in there, and then shut the lid on them real fast, but certainly not an ideal solution. However, one thing I do want to point out is over here, a lot of people don't recognize you have this really large storage area. It actually goes back quite a ways. I find this might actually be the better place to store the coupons, so you can fold those in half and actually stick all of them in there like so, and it does shut. So it actually might be a more convenient place for the driver to get their coupons out, maybe in the drive-thru. Now, up in front of that we've got our 2 cup holders, but there's no more storage up here. As far as your shifter, this is just the regular Audi electronic shifter, so you pull back for drive, bump over here to the right if you want to do some manual shifting, And of course, since this is an S model after all, you will find paddle shifters. Now heading into reverse, this is where you'll find one of my favorite 360-degree camera systems in the business. This is standard equipment on the SQ5, or SQ7, excuse me, and as you can tell, it does bend with your active trajectory, and you also have the 3D view, which is extremely detailed. Then for park, just press the P, and right behind that you have your electronic parking brake. Alright, so now we're heading on up here to this row of buttons, including your volume knob. So that brings me to a really exciting point, and that's that we actually have the $5,000 1920 watt 23 speaker Bang & Olufsen Advanced 3D sound system, the one with the tweeters that rise up out of the dashboard. So let's go ahead and take a sample of this. I don't think I've ever heard this sound system before. Of course, for that $5,000 price tag, you'd expect nothing but phenomenal sound quality, and I am happy to say it definitely delivers on that. Alright, so now let's go ahead and check out our first of two different displays. This lower one is 8.6 inches, and the primary function is going to be climate control, as you could probably tell. So we have a standard quad zone automatic climate control setup. And to adjust your temperature is really simple. You're just going to swipe up and down like so, and then you can do the same for your fan speeds as well as your zones. Now you will also notice we have heated seats and ventilated seats. So these heated seats are of course standard. The ventilated seats, those come as part of the warm weather package. Up above that, you'll notice a few quick controls, including to turn on and off your auto start stop system and your HomeLink universal remotes. Up above that, we come to our primary infotainment display. This one is 10.1 inches, and this is where you do your traditional infotainment stuff with this new MMI touch response system. So just like in other Audi models, you'll notice you have the tiles, and it is set up very similar to like a tablet or something like that. You'll notice we have both Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities on board, and of course standard navigation with the Audi Google Earth Maps once you enable those inside of the settings, which we have not done on this specific example, but they are there. Now this system is quite complex, so I'm not going to go through it all in this video itself, but we do have a tech help video if you want to check that out. Now up above that you will find a standard auto dimming mirror. It does have the frameless design with the compass, and again the HomeLink is down below in that display. And then up top here you will find a standard panoramic moonroof. This, like I said, comes on all the models, and it is extremely large with a transparent sunshade. Now one other thing I want to point out up here at the top is that we have the really rich Alcantara headliner all throughout, and that's because this model here has the luxury package.
Now, saying this rear seat is opulent would be a complete understatement, but this SQ7, it really just blows me away how nice this rear seat is. Now, I'm going to go ahead and mention the space first. You're going to come in at 39 inches of both leg and headroom, which does place it on par with most of the rivals. It is less than the Mercedes GLS, but a little bit ahead of the BMW X7. And behind rear seating position, I have about 6 to 7 inches of rear leg room, and my feet can easily slide up underneath the seat. Now, as far as your features, there are going to be a lot of them. So dropping down here in the center, we do have standard vents. You're also going to have standard 4-zone climate control, so each rear passenger back here can adjust their temperatures. And if you go for the cold weather package, you will also have 3-stage heated rear seats. Dropping down, we have a 12-volt outlet and then 2 charging USB ports. If we fold down the center armrest, you do have cup holders inside, although they're really, really small. I don't know what you would put in that. And then off to the side, we do have rear window sunshades, as well as some more vents. Now, even though this is a performance SUV, you may still need to haul people around in the third row since this is a Q7. So in order to do that, just locate this little lever right here, pull it once, and then you can push in on this, and then that will release the seat, and it kind of hydraulically lifts up. So let's go ahead and get back here. So, well, sitting back into this SQ7's third row, you know, this is a little bit smaller than stuff like the Mercedes GLS and BMW X7, so you're definitely going to feel that. You only have 29 inches of rear leg room, so as you can see, with these seats slid all the way back, you know, you're not really going to have enough space for full-grown adults back here. That said, I am pleasantly surprised that my feet can slide up underneath the seat, so that does make it a little bit more tolerable. Also, your thigh support is going to be a little bit lacking. Now, as far as your amenities, we do have a small cup holder back here, and there's also not any vents, which I think is a little bit crazy on a six-figure price tag vehicle, but that is your prerogative. Now, walking up to the SQ7's tailgate, you're going to have a standard hands-free power one, so just wave your foot under the bumper to open. And then getting inside the cargo area of this vehicle, you're going to find a decent amount of space. It is going to be quite a bit less than the competition like the X7 GLS and Volvo XC90. So you're going to find 14 cubic feet behind the third row seats. That expands to 36 cubic feet if you fold them, and then as a maximum you have 70 cubic feet. And as far as the finishings, nice carpeting along the floor. If we lift it up, we do have the subwoofer for that awesome $5,000 audio system, but no storage. Off to the side, we do have a little net here. We also have buttons to raise and lower the air suspension, as well as power fold the third row. And it is worth noting that that is standard equipment on the SQ7. Now here at your passenger seat, you're going to have the same adjustments as the driver, so that's to say a lot. And then we also have two-person memory. And then dropping down the glove box, this is a surprisingly large glove box. I'm very pleasantly surprised by that. It's nicely felt lined. And then as far as our coupons, you know, we have our Fazoli's coupons, we have our Burger King coupons. How's it going to fit? It looks like it fits in there absolutely fantastically. It's really deep and wide. Then up top, we do have a sun visor with a mirror LED light, and this is also the two-part sun visor setup, so you can have it extended down here as well as in the front for those instances where it's blinding you from the side and the front.
Oh, holy moly.
Oh my.
Woo. That is seriously quick. Yeah, I knew the specification 4.3 seconds 0 to 60, but it feels bizarre still, you know, when you actually do it, because this is such a big SUV but moves so quickly.
That is insane.
I guess I should talk about the engine. So this has got a 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 engine, and the power figures are excellent. 500 horsepower, 568 pound-feet of torque. So as you can see, that is why we go 0 to 60 so quickly.
Yeah, that is absolutely amazing power figures, and it's worth knowing if you're cross-shopping this with just a regular Q7, should you upgrade, it's 165 more horsepower. So definitely gonna get your money's worth when you go up to this SQ7. Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
How does a 3-row move that fast? It doesn't even make sense. Wow.
And let's talk about that sound too. It sounds excellent. Just having the V8, I mean, obviously, and beyond performance, you have the sound benefit of a V8 that can't be replicated with, you know, 6 cylinders.
Yeah. This has such a throaty sound, and we are in comfort mode right now, so that's just something to mention. So this is as like numbed down as that gets. But since we are in comfort mode right now, let's go ahead and discuss the driving dynamics and its just overall comfort experience just cruising down the highway. Right now we're going 55 miles an hour, and even as fun as this vehicle is, we've got to be realistic. It's a 3-row luxury crossover, so not all the time you're going to be doing full throttle acceleration. So how does it do? I have to say, it's really no different than a regular Q7, which is definitely a compliment, and that's great because cruising here at 55, it's super quiet, super comfortable. Let's get a sound level reading. Very, very impressive. 54.9 decibels. Most of the cars we test on this road are 56 to 57, so that's definitely going to be proving our point here of just how quiet and luxurious this overall ride experience is when you're not flooring it down.
Right, and this has the adaptive air suspension, so in comfort mode right now, it is so comfortable in here. It really just absorbs bumps excellently. So I just clicked it into the dynamic mode. The air suspension does lower down, tighten everything up. Yep. Since, like I said, it is the adaptive air suspension. So we'll take off here.
Also, the exhaust baffles opened up.
Oh,
you can audibly hear it immediately as soon as you switch.
Big difference. Yeah, it sounds excellent. I'm definitely liking the firmness of everything in the dynamic mode. Really tightens the steering down. Of course, this is really a fast responding steering, but I mean, it practically eliminates body roll. So you can just turn and you're not rolling at all. I mean, it really is exceptional. That is the power of an adaptive air suspension and why it's so valuable, and it is standard on the SQ7. I also want to talk about that 8-speed automatic transmission. It's not a dual clutch actually, which is surprising because of just how fast everything shifts. I mean, it's really exceptional how quick the shifts fire off. You know, I really, like I said, I was like, this really seems like a dual clutch, because especially in dynamic mode, it's just bop, bop, bop. And then, you know, you can take manual control, of course, as well.
And of course, you're going to also have standard Quattro all-wheel drive as well.
Those are some really firm shifts.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Very aggressive. Bam. And, you know, that right there, that leads us into today's slam dunk and airball. I mean, if you haven't picked up on now what today's slam dunk is going to be, I'm going to question, you know, if you can see my face. I mean, look at it. There's just that engine. It's a phenomenal engine through and through. The power is extremely impressive. And not only that, it sounds ridiculously good. No V6 is going to give you that. It's just that raw, throaty V8 sound, and it is phenomenal. It will put a smile on your face every day that you own this vehicle.
However, this is not without any cons. I think our airball is actually the same as in the regular Q7, and that's just that compared to the competition, it does lack some practicality. You know, as far as performance goes, what you would maybe cross-shop this with would be like X7 M50i, something like that. And that's going to be a bigger vehicle, so you have more utility in the back. The third row is a lot better. And then up in the front, as we've discussed, in the inside, they just don't put very much space to stick things like your cell phone or something. There's hardly any center console space. and it does make it difficult to fit those coupons in.
Yeah.
So that's today's airball.
All right, and then handling some of the just general business stuff about this SQ7. What's the fuel economy? Actually, a pretty impressive point for this model because it's rated at 15 city, 21 highway, 17 combined. And you're probably scratching your head. You're like, why is that good? But the regular Q7 is only rated at 18, so you're literally not sacrificing hardly anything when you go for a 500 horsepower SQ7 model.
Mm-hmm.
So just something worth noting there. And then as far as, how much this is going to cost. Now, of course, it is expensive. It's an SQ7 and it's an Audi, so it's pretty pricey, and it's starting at the Premium Plus trim level. So you're going to start at $84,800, and then if you go for the Prestige, like what we have here, that's going to be $90,400. It is worth noting that's a little less pricey than the GLS 580 or X7 M50i, though. Now, this particular model is about as fully loaded as you can get it. We have almost all the options, including that luxury package, the $5,000 audio system, just crazy stuff like that. So ours, plus the destination charge, is going to come in at $102,835. So this is a six-figure price tag vehicle, which is pretty eye-watering, but I mean, just look at all you're getting, the performance, the practicality of having a 3-row with that much performance. You are getting a lot for that price.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way to conclude this. This is kind of a do-everything vehicle. You have a big family, you need 3 rows, but you don't want to sacrifice having fun? Well, this is fun. This is definitely fun. And while the price tag is, of course, very steep, you do have to pay to play, as they say. And I actually think this seems like a good choice, especially maybe compared to like a standard version of a Q8. You can get this with the 3rd row and the better performance for a pretty similar price tag.
Well, guys, that's going to be all for this in-depth look at the 2021 Audi SQ7 fully loaded. We really enjoyed filming this video, and if you enjoyed watching it, be sure to subscribe and you'll find all types of other automotive content, including lots of content on this all-new Q7, as well as the rest of the Audi lineup. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.